It's Perp back with another video. Just got done watching episode 3 of Mare of Easttown. Wow, another great episode. Very stacked. An hour, so much worth of content, man. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and follow me on Twitter at PerpMinded if you haven't. So, man, this show really, just based off of this episode, I really can't trust nobody. Everybody's really shady. We get to the coroner scene, kind of opens up with this coroner scene of, them figuring out what happened to Erin. She's missing a finger, so that comes back into play later on in this episode. So then we get a scene of Kenny being found by his cousins, pretty much admitting to killing DJ or Dylan. He gets questioned, and to his belief, which, I gotta give him credit, because he wanted to protect his daughter, even though he chose violence. You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot of guts to just go in there and just be like, yeah, I did it. He just didn't care. But DJ, Dylan, is still alive, and a lot of drama and stuff is starting to be revealed. We'll get to that very shortly, because I have some thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts on there. So Dylan survives. Going back to that, you have Siobhan pretty much going through this old tape of her brother. We finally get to see him, Kevin, with Carrie there. Seems like he's enjoying life, but there's a lot more to the surface. We get this story of like how they went to go see Harry Potter, and he has these twitches, and you remember that his son is starting to show them same twitches and whatnot. And I really feel like Siobhan's character is going to play a big part in the outcome of the story, or just filling in certain pieces for her brother. Now here we have an interesting scene where they're all kind of sitting around, the son, and just being a family. But then it gets awkward where he starts to say like, oh, maybe I should go live with mom. Nana was telling me this, and this leads to a huge argument between these two. But what she can realize is that, Carrie is a mother first. Regardless of what she's done, she still deserves to see her son and be with her son. She wants to figure out this whole custody thing. Then Lori, I'm pretty sure that's her name, Lori Ross, pops in with some really unfortunate news that kind of just... just imagine being mayor at this point and just getting all this information. So it gets bring back that, Jess has some information that wasn't known to anybody besides her and Erin, that Frank may be the real father. And she immediately, I'm talking about Mayor, goes to question him. Without a doubt, it's just in front of everybody. Kind of makes a scene, really. And tells him pretty much, will you agree to do a fraternal test? And he's like, yeah. Just looking at her kind of sideways at this point. And you're kind of wondering to yourself too, like, what's going on with Mare's character? So, she's kind of burning bridges potentially, and, shaking things up with DJ's family, saying like, yeah, we need to do a blood test and stuff, even though like all they're really worried about is making sure that their son could walk again and stuff. And she's throwing all this stuff out. But then we got a lead on possible suspects for Erin's murder. This preacher or deacon, we saw him in the recent episode, which, I feel like I literally think it's a little bit too obvious to be the preacher. I feel like there's a bigger conspiracy going on, that he's not the only one that's involved. They definitely give you hints. And just so happens that another one of the pastors that kind of work there is Mayor's cousin. So I don't know, it might be a whole inside thing, a bigger conspiracy going on. Let me know how you guys feel about that in the comments below. Then we get this interesting scene between Mare and her mother, Helen, You know, they go from fighting to just like kind of reconnecting because she's about to go on this date with Richard. And this was a really cool, lighthearted moment. There's a few cool, lighthearted moments in this episode. It's not all doom and gloom, which I kind of appreciate it because it kind of makes the world or the story feel more real, more realistic. Siobhan gets hit on by this radio host, whatnot. I don't know what this is going to have to do with anything. Me personally, I don't really care, but obviously it's more character development, I guess, for her character, even though I feel like she already has a girlfriend. That might play into something later. Anyways, another one that I don't really understand, but I kind of get why it's there, is the whole Richard and Mare situation. I understand, like, this is supposed to be her love interest, supposed to be like her freedom, I guess, or whatnot, and they have this conversation, and she kind of gets motivated by what he says and says, like, you know, you got to fight for your kid, this, that, and the third. And I think she kind of took it the wrong way. That's all I'll say. But we definitely get to see Mare in action, just like kind of breaking things down. And Colin gets to see this as well. Because there's a point where Colin's like, all right, maybe this chick is kind of crazy, but I like her. But then he kind of finds out, like, yo, she is really good at her job. It is really refreshing to see in a series like this, especially that has to do with crime or a crime drama or something like that. Usually the policing in the shows are terrible. It's not realistic, but, you know, they do it here. So DJ is really, like, contemplating, is this really my kid? You know, they're trying to get you to sympathize for him, but, you know, he had it coming, to be honest. That might sound messed up, but he had that bullet coming from a mile away. But we'll have to see what they do with that. We get some more light-hearted tones mixed in with, you know, all the chaos going on. You have Betty being a nosy neighbor here. We'll get into that very shortly. Also, I think his name is Johnny. I think that's one of Kenny's cousins. Kind of vouches for Frank and says, like, he was with me, and kind of gives him the alibi. So who knows if she's going to take that into account or not. And she probably regrets making that decision. So we get to the funniest part of this whole entire episode, is where, you know, Betty, being kind of nosy and stuff, kind of gets retaliation. I don't know. And this was a funny scene altogether. You know, you have Betty's husband saying, like, those don't even look like your tits. It was hilarious, man. I just really enjoyed that. But then we get back into the real stuff where, you know, Mare and Colin are trying to figure out, all right, we got a lead on this preacher dude, that this is not the first time that he's kind of, like, moved around like this. So yeah, he's definitely suspect. But he doesn't answer his door, so we're just going to have to wait for that. Now, this is where you really get to see who Mare is, and, you know, we have this interesting conversation. But wait. Before we get there, let's talk about what Siobhan talked about in this scene, where she's kind of making this whole, like, kind of music video or documentary for a brother. And, you know, she says in the scene that Carrie really didn't get along. I don't know if that's really true. There's, like, kind of two sides of the story. So now going back to the scene where Carrie and Mara having this conversation about custody, you could tell that they both, you know, these are two just mothers kind of butting heads. I don't know what happened in Kevin's past to make Carrie say, like, yo, Kevin always hated you. And this leads Mare to go to certain lengths that it's just like, wow, you really gotta kind of question her character here. It's kind of messed up. But we get this really dope scene, and shows you Evan Peters' range as Colin in this scene, where he's just drunk and he's kind of describing, like, why he's such a, like, kind of like a big deal. Not like a big deal, but, like, explaining his case, finding this little girl and stuff. And, you know, he's kind of torn up about it too as well, but he really likes Mare as a character. But unfortunately, she's got some skeletons in her closet as well. And I want to see that kind of play out as this series goes on. I really want to get those answers. The episode ends with creepy preacher dude or deacon tossing out the bike that they've been looking for. And like I said, I feel like it's way too obvious for them to show who exactly was the person that did it. I just want to know who pulled the trigger, because there was mention, like Mare was pretty much telling, like, yo, maybe Kenny was the one that shot, you know, Aaron out of rage and being drunk and stuff, that he felt guilty about it, so he had to get rid of DJ or Dylan. Let me know how you guys feel about that theory in the comments below. I think that would be pretty crazy, but also, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. It's morning time, and Mare wakes up with a weird look on her face, and the chief knocks at her door saying, like, where were you last night? What were you doing? And she kind of tries to make up this lie, and he figures out that, like, yo, you took drugs from the evidence room, whatever, and planted them in Carrie's car. And that was a super low, because, you know, here's I don't know who Carrie was before all this. I know, like, she probably was kind of a harsh person towards, you know, Mare or whatnot, but that's still foul. So she has to give up her badge and everything, and she's off the case, which I don't think she's going to pretty much submit and just completely give up on this case when she's getting so close to figuring out what's going on, putting the pieces together. That might become an issue. We got a few more episodes left, though, man. How do you guys feel about this episode? I thought that this was a fantastic episode. Each episode just has tons of layers of character development, things that I'm kind of scratching my head at. I don't know where they're going with it. Obviously, it's probably just there to give more character development to certain characters, but also move the kind of plot forward. Man, I don't know what to expect in episode 4. I didn't watch the preview. I'm gonna go watch it now. I'll see y'all next Sunday or next Monday for the episode 4 review. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and follow me on Twitter at perpminded420. Till next video, I'm out. Peace.